coming up on Rhetorically Defective.
Being forced into a recession because the Democrats don't like Trump as president while they let their lackeys go into a paramilitary political terrorism? Yeah, that's about the time you start f***ing insurrecting, I'd say. Let me show you why it seems like destiny is on speed. If the eyes are the window to the soul, then the hands are the window to a drug addiction. Let's go to Snopes real quick. Claim, CNN's headline after the attempted assassination on former US President Donald Trump read, Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Rating, true. Whenever you see the iconic picture of Trump after his assassination attempt, always remember that CNN posted that picture saying he fell at the rally. And my favorite, why it seems like Kyle Rittenhouse shot black people. So, Destiny is the first amphetamine NPC I've ever seen. He's stuck on a loop in maximum overdrive. Even though he spent years debating the left on their defamatory coverage of Kyle Rittenhouse, right around election time, all of a sudden, the right is a threat to honest news coverage. What does he mean by the right? Anyone on social media that goes against his hyper-divisive, peak hyperbole partisan hackery. All he does is view the right in a vacuum and ignores all antagonization and misinformation from lefty politicians and corporate media. He will be talking to the most good faith, reasonable interlocutor possible, Alex O'Connor. Let's watch Destiny put the spurg in Asperger's.
After the first assassination attempt on Donald Trump, you got quite a lot of heat for a series of tweets that you put out, which had some choice words, not just for Trump, but also for Corey Comparatore, who was the firefighter that got killed by mistake by the shooter at the Trump rally. You were on Twitter almost immediately calling him retarded. That is Corey, not Donald Trump, saying that you have zero sympathy for anybody who gets caught in a crosshair like that, and seeming to have no sort of ill feeling about the fact that a former president, somebody tried to assassinate them. I understand that you are angry about the state of the right wing in America. I understand that you really don't like Trump, and that's putting it far too lightly. But when you talk about how you don't like Twitter because it sort of is poisoning our political dialogue, do you not think you're contributing to it as well with this kind of behavior?
No, I don't think the dialogue is being poisoned because people are being mean, of which conservatives have been disgusting for years.
The left colluded with each other to defame a 16-year-old for wearing a MAGA hat and standing in front of a Native American. He got death threats from verified accounts on Twitter that weren't taken down for the crime of smiling in a MAGA hat, including throwing him and his classmates into a wood chipper. Then, to try and clear his name, he had to go on national TV and go, yeah, I smiled, and you think that I was being disrespectful to a 16-year-old. And the media hid the adult black men being racist toward the white kids.
Bring y'all crack ass up here and make a statement. Tell them come over here in the lion's den. You little dirty ass crackers, your day coming.
I'm sorry, what has the right done that's even remotely close to that?
Which is why I don't give a fuck about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the fuck, okay? Because they had no problem making fun of Paul Pelosi.
This is why the left is so evil. Destiny is acting like he ever gave a shit about Paul Pelosi. What does he care about Paul Pelosi? The guy running for office? Not only that, but it was a domestic dispute at his home where he was attacked in his underwear, while Paul Pelosi was holding the hammer in one hand and a drink in his other hand.
Drop the hammer.
Nope. Paul Pelosi has been the one holding the hammer the entire time. You're thinking to yourself, Paul, why don't you use your other hand? Well, let me show you.
Hey. What is going on?
He's holding a fucking drink in his hand. Listen, dude, you're married to Nancy. You gotta knock a few back, alright? I understand that, trust me. But there's kind of a dire situation here right now. This guy wants to hit you in the head with a hammer. You don't seem like you're afraid. You barely seem like you care. And you won't even put your own drink down. Ooh, it's a little different, wouldn't you say?
They have no problem making fun of anybody else that gets killed in some horrific event. A lot of conservatives were laughing along at a lot of my tweets when I was making fun of Palestinians during my last, year and a half talking about Israel. And some of them laughed when I made fun of Israelis as well. But all of a sudden, Corey is beyond reproach. Bullshit.
It's not that he's beyond reproach, you cum-puking gnome. It's that it encourages political violence during an election. How do you do political commentary but you don't understand that? It's encouraging encouraging the behavior to happen when you're dehumanizing the opponent. The left normally calls us fascists when you're completely dehumanizing the opponent. It's pretty dehumanizing to go, well, yeah, they deserve to be killed. Or no, I'm sorry. It's not they deserve to be killed. It's that, yeah, if they're killed, you know what you're getting yourself into. I keep forgetting that Destiny is too much of a pussy to come out and say what he actually means. And it has to go in this circular kind of logic for him to evade responsibility of not caring if this guy died and thinking he deserved it.
Really have any sympathy for
No,
people
you didn't. You laughed about it. You thought it was funny. You didn't give a shit. You were under fire on Twitter for weeks until you finally backed away.
You can go I haven't backed away from any of those statements. You can go find the
You haven't backed away from any of them?
No, not at all.
You don't care that the guy died, right?
People died. Rallies
Yeah, you don't care.
When this side is involved
But you
in
care
some
about
of the most
misinfo?
violent, divisive. Wait, do you disavow any of the rhetoric about Paul Pelosi? Do you disavow any of the rhetoric about Paul Pelosi?
What? Even if I made any outrageous claim possible, has nothing to do with your claim, which is what we're talking about. We're talking about your claim. Stop switching.
He doesn't, of course not.
Stop
he doesn't
switching
acknowledge
the
what happened on
goalposts.
January 6th. He doesn't acknowledge
And
that
you're
people are turning
filibustering.
away
You're
FEMA
filibustering.
right now
Stop
because
spurging.
they're
Stop
convinced that
spurging.
the federal government's going
Stop
to take their
spurging.
houses.
Stop spurging.
You are, you
Stop
just all the time.
spurging in
You
answer
can say
to
stop
the
spurging over and
question.
over again. I'm not here to
I'm going
talk out
to.
my tweets,
Are
but if that's what you really want to talk about, you do it. I've
are you
tweeted
going
crazier
to
shit than that, I
acknowledge
promise.
Are you going to acknowledge that you said totally fine? You didn't care. You just said right now you don't care.
Fine. You can look at
Another American dies. Aren't you spreading misinformation by saying to people, this is okay? Isn't that un-American?
I don't think I've ever said this is okay. I've said over and over again that there shouldn't be any political violence in the United States.
Great.
It's not good.
That's
you can laugh.
great.
You guys are the ones that
Donald
support
Trump
it.
said that at
You
January
guys deny
6th.
it.
He said it during January 6th.
After he sat and watched it happen for 3
well,
hours.
after
when
the
he was
guy died,
only
now you're
person-
sorry about your rhetoric.
Who said I was sorry?
Yeah, you're not
Excuse me.
sorry,
Please stop
exactly.
projecting onto me. I never said I was sorry about anything.
Yeah, you don't
I've not said that. Yeah, unlike you, I have a spine over the things that I say, okay?
No,
Number one.
okay.
Number two, Donald Trump and your side are the ones that have engaged in divisive rhetoric for years. This idea that saying Donald Trump is un-American when Donald Trump himself says that he would be a day one
Divisive
dictator,
rhetoric
that he would
is fine.
suspend the Constitution. I'm sorry,
So,
if the divisive
there's a
rhetoric
difference
keeps
between
quoting
divisive
Donald
rhetoric
Trump
and
back at you,
assassinating the
that's
guy.
Donald Trump's problem. Maybe
Your
you should
rhetoric
say
has
that are
led to
un-American.
assassination attempts, and one of the guys who died there, you don't even give a shit. And I've said this multiple times. And at the same time, you're like, oh, I love America. What kind of bullshit is this, Destiny?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
when you guys start
unbelievable.
taking accountability for some of the crazy things that you say, come and talk to me, okay? Come and talk to me.
But he's so vague. He doesn't have these actual examples of anything he actually cares about. He brings up Paul Pelosi like he gives a shit. He doesn't. And then he just gish-dallops the entire time. He just rattles off a bunch of things without regard to their accuracy or relevance to what he's talking about. And what I'm showing you is people in positions of power. What he's referencing is random trolls on X that are saying things that hurt his fifis. How is this equivalent?
I think that the issue that I have with X isn't people being mean, it's people that are just lying and contributing to a destruction of the discourse.
Destiny has a playlist still on his account right now devoted to him calling out all the lies coming from the left about Kyle Rittenhouse, another minor, a 17-year-old, where the video was available the first day or two, and they all decided to lie about it. He knows what he's doing. This is proof he's a grifter. Everything he's saying about the right is 100% true about the left, which has been his content for the past 3 or 4 years. All of a sudden, there's an election cycle where Trump needs to lose, and he switches his content completely. He is a grifter.
I think that people can be mean. I think hate speech is fine, whatever you want to do there. But when you have people that are intentionally bad actors that are just destroying the discourse by just flooding it with incorrect stuff that they're not even trying to be correct about, the entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms. Like, there is no downside and only upside to see people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool never be allowed to publicly broadcast their opinions ever again. It's exclusively bad stuff that happens. So if somebody wants to be mean or an ass or whatever, I'm totally fine with that. But when people are supporting, the destruction of our world, like informationally, right? When we've all become epistemic nihilists and now anything can be true.
Epistemic nihilists and like anything can be true. You mean like a man becoming a woman and a woman becoming a man and neo-pronouns? And creating identities that they want validated by the government on their driver's licenses? Who are you talking about and what are you talking about? It's like he starts talking really fast, but he's not actually saying anything of substance. And he just tries to overwhelm the person that he's talking to, so they don't have enough time to rebut anything that he's saying. And it's like the only thing you can do with Destiny is watch a video of him and then show how it's completely incorrect in every way.
It's all a conspiracy. And it is now, right? Like, I start a lot of my debates off with conservatives being like, do you believe in dinosaurs, by the way?
Do you believe in systemic racism, by the way, even though there's a higher sentencing disparity between men and women than there are between white men and black men? But you never hear them talk about systemic sexism, do you?
The boat collision, I think in Ohio, was the Mossad that, rammed a boat in to take off off the heat from Gaza.
It's any random opinion he sees on X and he's like, that's all conservatives. Do you want to know why people are conspiratorial? Only the right wing was calling out Biden's cognitive decline. Vivek Ramaswamy called it out 8 months before he stepped down. And you want to know what the left did? Act like the right never said that and did a palace coup and installed Kamala Harris, even though Biden clearly didn't want to step down from office for re-election. I said step down from office. Isn't that funny? He's still in office. He's still the president. How are we supposed to trust this system exactly if we can see that happen right in front of our eyes?
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
She knows so long as she was 9.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now.
Russian disinformation tactics. And one of the themes this election cycle is that Joe Biden is too old to lead. And so everyone is seizing upon this. And it is a classic disinformation tactic. And I think the best thing that we can do is to prepare the American people for this false narrative.
But they're trying to push me out of the race. Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
A sharp turn for history. As President Biden announced at 1:46 p.m., there would be no last campaign for him. I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term.
The CIA and, there were bioweapon labs there, and COVID was a hoax, and the vaccine, like every single fucking thing.
Hey, remember during COVID when the director of the CDC declared racism a serious public health threat? Let's see how the CDC remembers COVID. June 8th, 2020, the World Bank states that the COVID-19 pandemic will plunge the global economy into the worst recession since World War II. That sounds pretty bad. That same day, thousands of people were allowed to pay respects at George Floyd's funeral.
Arrived at the Floyd family church this morning for a public memorial attended by thousands. Over the weekend, from coast to coast, huge protests continued calling for racial justice and police reforms, including defunding police departments. In Minneapolis, the city council approved a plan to start the process of dismantling the police department and rebuild a new model of public safety.
Our commitment is to end our city's toxic relationship with the Minneapolis Police Department, to end policing as we know it.
And in Washington, D.C., where activists painted "Defund the Police" near the Black Lives Matter street mural, the mayor said what's been submitted for police funding in her budget is what's needed. She avoided directly answering whether the addition to the mural would be removed.
We recognize it as expression, and especially right now, acknowledging and affirming expression is important to this discussion that we have to have as a community.
Surely the nationwide protests and burning of buildings was spreading COVID, right? Wrong again, conspiracy theorist. On June 24th, 2020, 3 weeks after a Black Lives Matter protest broke out across the country in the wake of the death of George Floyd, data from 300 of the largest U.S. cities found no evidence of a COVID-19 spike in the weeks following the beginning of the protests. Researchers determined that social distancing behaviors went up as people tried to avoid the protests, so we were also told that you can protest as much as you want and it doesn't spread the virus. However, if you're making money and contributing to Trump's economy and educating yourself by going to school, that's gonna spread it. So going to work in school where the COVID protocols would be regulated would spread COVID. However, protesting where there was no regulation didn't spread COVID. And how can we possibly forget how they exploited the dead black body of George Floyd to push their political agenda? George Floyd's legacy will live on in the form of a hologram. The George Floyd Foundation is launching a tour at Confederate monument sites. Each event will temporarily alter the monuments with a 3D hologram of George Floyd. Floyd's hologram features fireflies transforming his face along with his name in graffiti. The initiative aims to convert spaces normally occupied by racist symbols. The first event was held at the site of former Jefferson Davis Monument in Richmond, Virginia. The hologram will make its way south to other locations. And I'm not even going to get into the COVID data. Go to this video if you want to see the COVID data.
Every single thing is not real, and it is destroying us. We have no unified front right now that we can present to the world.
No unified front to present the rest of the world. The left won't let the right have any national identity at all whatsoever. Anything that's nationalist, you call ultra-nationalist and fascist. So once again, the left is creating problems that they're complaining about. If you really want us to have a unified presence on the world stage, let people be nationalist and love the country and stop calling the flag racist? Possibly? Maybe that's a you guys thing, don't you think?
The issue, again, and I will reiterate this, even though nobody will pay attention, not calling you out, but audience, whatever. I don't care about people being mean. People being mean is not the problem. The problem is the lying and the mis and disinformation. That's the big problem. When people want to say like, the issue is the problem right now is that in the United States, there exists two different standards, and you can't live in a world where where both sides have to play by different standards. It doesn't work.
Two different standards? You mean how like one side got to protest for months and not spread COVID? Billions of dollars in damage, murders, lighting fires across the country, including a police precinct, and have the media cover for them and say they're fiery but mostly peaceful, attack the CNN headquarters, and still call them demonstrators? And then one time, after seeing all of that, people on the right go, hey, we shouldn't punish private citizens. Our issue is with the people and the Capitol building. We should go to the Capitol building because that's who we have an issue with. They do that one time after being primed, seeing months of their city getting destroyed, and I don't think it was an insurrection. Let's say it was an insurrection. Under what condition would an insurrection be permissible? When your country's being when you're not allowed to go to school or work, but they're allowed to go and destroy cities around the country? Yeah, I'd say it's justified at that point. Definitely. Being forced into a recession because the Democrats don't like Trump as president while they let their lackeys go and do a paramilitary political terrorism? Yeah, that's about the time you start insurrecting, I'd say.
There is some benefit to attacking the other side, and then it rallies your side up and it demoralizes the other side. That's why conservatives have attacked so brutally liberals for so long, and they get all of the benefit from that. They get all of the fun, all of the excitement. They get to, give the strong morale to their people. They get to have all the chance at rallies, and then as soon as it happens to them, hold on.
Did this delusional pipsqueak just compare chance at rallies to an assassination attempt at another political rally? I didn't hear that right, did I?
People that get to have all the chance at rallies.
People that get to have all the chance at rallies.
And then as soon as it happens to them, hold on.
And then as soon as it happens to them, what, people chant? They're used to being protested. What a disgusting pussy cokehead.
Well, this isn't fair anymore. We don't like this. This isn't okay. I don't like this anymore. The fact that after that shooting, Biden, who in a private call to donors said, like, we need to put the Trump campaign in the bullseye or whatever, that guy, that he went on, I don't remember which news station it was, but he had to apologize for those comments when conservatives are like on the regular saying some of the most deranged, unhinged shit. I wish I had examples offhand if I knew this was a topic, but Trump is like himself on every rally will just say like insane shit.
This is what a grifter sounds like. He has no examples, his heart's going a mile a minute, and he's speaking before he's thinking. I honestly don't see what's so compelling about him. People are just believing what he's saying, and it's gross because he's doing this as a grift.
No, that's bullshit. The double standards can exist. If conservatives don't like it, they need to elevate their own behavior, because I'm getting really tired of liberals constantly having to fucking row the boat while conservatives are this anchor that are just dragging us into the Atlantic with absolutely, no responsibility or accountability for their behavior.
Yeah, like when Republicans were innocently giving haircuts during COVID in front of the state capitol.
I believe we have the right to work because I need to provide for myself. I don't think I should be shut down, because if we all lived in fear like this, we wouldn't go anywhere. I need to be able to provide for myself and for my family. So I don't know what else to do at this point than to actually go out and make money.
And then they were issued fines because they were giving haircuts.
For today's event, our main goal again is to educate, time frame, verbal warning, time frame, and if we need to be, we'll issue a citation, which we have done today.
Because we all know the only way COVID can transfer from one person to the other is if they're learning or making money, not when they're protesting.
So you don't like the whole Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high kind of approach? Is there no...
I think Michelle got rid of that. By the way, most people on the right think she's trans.
Whoa, Destiny, what are you trying to get my channel taken down? Relax with the transphobia, buddy, okay? Let me clear the air. I do not think, now or in the past, at any point, that Michael Obama is trans, okay?
You guys think that look at all the weird obsess over for trans people and the trans groomer and the cutting off children's dicks and all of this and all the document and the obsession over it, or the obsession over well, I could give like a million examples, but
now a lot of times people will accuse Destiny of being on speed. Let me show you why it seems like Destiny is on speed. If the eyes are the window to the soul, then the hands are the window to a drug addiction.
You guys think that look.
Excellent. We've made contact. We're about to start a list.
Look at all the weird.
So it seems like Destiny wants a list to happen before he has a list in his head. So now his finger is starting to slide down his finger as he's trying to count. If you count your finger, 1, 2, do it right now, you touch the top of your finger. If you're in the middle of talking and you start sliding it down like a fat, sloppy little pig, it's not a red flag, it's a yellow light.
You obsess over for trans people and the trans groomer and the cutting off children's dicks and all of this and all the
His fingers are no longer touching. He's talking with his hands, and now we are in emotions land. He doesn't have a list in his mind of what he's going to say, but he knows he wants to start gish galloping and start a list.
And the obsession over it, or the
Now we have the double tap on the second finger because he's trying to think of what he wants to say.
Obsession over,
He has now abandoned the list completely, and his hands are looking like he's about to catch a football.
Well, I could give like a million examples, but
now let's focus on what he was trying to say when he was making this list that he failed to make.
You guys think that look at all the weird you obsess over for trans people and the trans groomer and the cutting off children's dicks and all of this and all the document and the obsession over it.
At no point did Destiny just say none of that is happening. All he did was accuse the right of having a weird obsession over it, but he never said it wasn't happening. Is the obsession weird if it is happening?
Or the obsession over well, I could give like a million examples, but like there's
says he can give a million examples, only gave one example, stopped counting. Totally owned the right, didn't he?
I've heard you say, for example, like, no, I don't have any sympathy for anyone who's at a Donald Trump rally. Anyone who's at a rally supporting a man who tried to incite an insurrection, which is like a fundamental threat to democracy, that should like invalidate their ability to vote. And as well as that, I have no sympathy for them being at a rally because of their undermining of the basic principles of democracy. Well, you know what else undermines the basic principle of democracy? The assassination of political leaders and democratically elected presidents. And so, in other words, to do like a tu quoque, to say, well, you do this too, why would I spend my time condemning this? It's to show political principles, say that actually I do believe in democracy. So even when, you know, my opponent is clipped in the ear with a bullet, I'm going to come out and say, of course I think that's bad. Obviously that's bad. And of course I have sympathy for anyone who's caught up in that. And you can use that as an opportunity if you do it without actually grandstanding, because I see that a lot. I must say, I do see a lot of people on the right condemning political violence against left-wingers.
Why would you ever hope to enter a good faith conversation with Destiny when Alex O'Connor, just in the most respectful way possible, addressed Destiny's argument in good faith and pretty accurately stalemanned it, and then offers his criticism, and then offers anecdotally what he's seen, and Destiny just goes, bullshit. Cope and seethe, commie.
Because I see that a lot. I must say, I do see a lot of people on the right condemning political violence against left-wingers. There's going to be people on Twitter saying crap all the time, right?
No, but I couldn't find anybody. I went back after my Pierce thing and I went to see what these people said about Paul Pelosi, and all of these guys, Trump Jr. did it, Dave Rubin did it, all these guys made disgusting comments and jokes about it. The reality is there is no political virtue or principle in allowing yourself to be crushed by an opposition that's not going to play by the same set of rules.
For all this fear-mongering about a Trump presidency, he's already been the president. When Trump was president, the media colluded to demonize a white 16-year-old wearing a MAGA hat, to the point where celebrities were jokingly making death threats about him. Also with Kyle Rittenhouse, the media made it seem like Kyle Rittenhouse shot black people. I didn't say they said that, they certainly made it seem that way because that's what people thought. NBC News. Sad and angry and frustrated, black moms on the Rittenhouse verdict. The New York Times analysis. The Rittenhouse trial involved issues of race and self-defense. And my favorite, why it seems like Kyle Rittenhouse shot black people. Even to this day, people think that Kyle Rittenhouse should be guilty because of the Democrats and mass media. Also under a Trump presidency, he couldn't just worry about COVID. They criticize him about COVID and then sweep the nationwide protests under the rug. Oh yeah, well whatever, like don't think about just think about January 6th. How do you play fair with these people?
The issue is the problem right now is that in the United States there exists two different standards, and you can't live in a world where both sides have to play by different standards. It doesn't work.
They retroactively sued Alex Jones for defamation from like 15 years ago for over $1 billion to seize his company? Isn't that fascism when the government works with private corporations to achieve their political goals, especially when they have a paramilitary force during a pandemic lockdown where the media covers for them and says, it's not spreading COVID, now don't go to work or school. I'm simplifying it because I hate to complicate it. We live in a two-tier justice system, and it's the left persecuting the right. Let's go to Snopes real quick. Claim, CNN's headline after the attempted assassination on former US President Donald Trump read, Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Rating, true. Whenever you see the iconic picture of Trump after his assassination attempt, where he yelled fight, always remember that CNN posted that picture saying he fell at the rally. I want you to associate that with that picture from now on. So CNN misreports, by accident, that Trump fell at the rally instead of an assassination attempt. Thank God we have Elon Musk's fascist social media to let us know that there was actually an assassination attempt as it was happening. But it gets worse, because who hosted the presidential debate between Trump and Biden? It was CNN. How were they the ones hosting the debate when they tried to lie about his assassination attempt? So my heart is going to explode if I keep going. I think I've made my point. We all know Destiny is completely full of shit, but a lot of times it's not broken down to show counterexamples of he's acting like the left is squeaky clean and not guilty of any of the things he's accusing the right of. I hope you learned something. Hope you had a couple of laughs. Have a good one.